Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's Diego, and it is 6:22 p.m., August 25th, 2025. Got a bit of a late start for our K1 Visa Green Card live stream. I was enjoying a nice Venezuelan soup. Karina, my beautiful wife from Venezuela, made this Venezuelan soup, and I just got finished eating it, and now I'm running 22 minutes late, and I apologize, but we're here, ready to go. For this green card live stream. Now, remember, I got to tell you guys, I'm not an immigration attorney. I don't work for USCIS. I don't give you any legal advice. Maru, good evening, Diego and Karina. Maru, what's going on? How's everything? I know you're happy. You got that your K1 visas in the mail and everything's good to go. Miguel, what do you think of the Venezuela being surrounded by U.S. ships, Diego? I think we need to send about 2 more down there. We got 3 and 4,500 Marines, and but maybe I think we should send a few more down there, maybe 2 more. But then perhaps they are going to send more ships down there, but they're just not telling anybody because they got to keep it under wraps. Why would you want to tell the enemy what your military strength is? Doesn't make any sense, right? I remember think about World War II when all of the military troops were being staged in southern England to invade France to go into Germany for D-Day. It was top secret. So anyway, it is what it is. Miguel, we need to send more ships down there, but I'm sure there's more on the way, but they're just not talking about it. Maru, I'm doing well. Aldo and Triago Bergman, hello Diego, how are you? I'm good, doing great. Just got done dinner, had a bit of a late dinner, but it was nice, a nice Venezuelan soup. And Maru says I'm doing well, that's good. And Miguel, I love the haircut, by the way. Yeah, I got my haircut, went back to my old high and tight haircut. I'm just used to it. Aldo, I just got my interview appointment for adjustment of status in less than 3 months from filing. Well, look, that's a Mountain Dew salute, even though I don't drink Mountain Dew anymore. Mountain Dew salute, and Mountain Dew doesn't pay me to say that. Pepsi Company doesn't pay me anything to say that, by the way. And we're going to put MAGA pixie dust, obviously, all over that. Yeah, things are speeding up. Do you know why things are speeding up? Because immigration, when you file a green card application, and if it's perfect with no mistakes, and it's an excellent package of information with a ton of evidence, boom, you're going to get your application adjudicated. But if you submit a pitiful green card application with hardly any evidence, mistakes here, mistakes there, they're just going to either deny it or send it back to you. Miguel, I still need to update my wife's social security card. Diego, been slacking on that. Well, you need to do that. Come on now, Miguel. Come on, you can do it. Vamos, let's go. Maru, I saw the video today. You talked about pictures. I hope I had enough. Maru, you include, when I reviewed your K1 visa application, you had pictures in there with the family and the friends in Cameroon. I saw those family and friends pictures. So you'll be okay. But when you go back to Cameroon, right? You're going to go back there and then make sure you get a bunch more pictures, okay? And Miguel, you got to go update your wife's social security card. You got to do it. And here's the thing with social security cards: when you first come to America, you run down the social security office, you get your social security number. You're going to get a card which says it's going to have your maiden name on it if you're a female. And it's going to say you can't work without permission from Homeland Security. That's normal. Then when you get your green card, you can go back to the Social Security office and update your status to legal permanent resident. And then you can also get all that writing cleared off of there, and you can update your last name. It's going to be updated to your husband's last name if you decide to do that. Maru, yes, I will be traveling next year to see him until 2026. That's great. In March of 2026 is when we're going to lift the conditions off of Karina's 2-year green card. and she's all excited about that. The time goes by so quickly. Maru, I will definitely get more pictures with family and friends. Yeah, you have this opportunity to get a bunch of, you want to get at least 20 pictures with family and friends, different people, different days, different locations. All right? That's what you got to do. Miguel, you look very young with the haircut, Diego. Well, I keep collecting birthdays. So, I think my diet has got something to do with it too. Because once a week, I take a 24-hour fast. I don't eat for 24 hours every week, once a week. So I eat dinner Sunday night, and then I don't eat anything until 24 hours have passed, which will be Monday, usually around 5 o'clock. And what that does is your body goes into self-survival mode when you don't eat anything. And when your body goes into self-survival mode, what it does is it uses the fat on your stomach for energy instead of the food that you eat. So if you want to lose weight, if you fast once a week for 24 hours, now I'm not a doctor. If you're on some kind of medicine or anything, make sure you get permission from your doctor before you do that. But it helps. 99% of all people's problems start in the stomach. All right. So I started this fasting once a week, and I tell you, it's good. The first time I did it was hard not to eat anything after about 12, 15 hours. But I stuck it out, and now this time it was it was a lot easier. So I'm losing weight, probably around 5 or 6 pounds a week, maybe 5 pounds a week. So then next week I'm going to try 36 hours without eating anything. I'm going to go 36 hours. When you go 36 hours without eating anything, that's when your body does a self-cleaning of itself. It basically repairs itself. If there's no food in your stomach, it's going to use the fat in your stomach or on your heart, or on your liver as energy. It's going to use that. It's going to clean out your system. It's going to do damage control repairs to your mitochondria, your body cells. So anyway, that's what I'm doing. So hopefully it works. It seems to be working. I just don't drink Coke anymore. I can't drink Mountain Dew anymore. So I give Mountain Dew salutes like this. You got to do Mountain Dew salutes like this. Now, today, President Trump signed an executive order. I think he signed it today. If you burn the American flag and you're a green card holder, you're going to get deported. If you're a visa holder, you're going to get deported. So if you come to this country and you decide you want to start burning the American flag, then you're going to be not in this country very long. You're going to be deported. And I made a video today also on how to process pictures and photos for your K1 visa, etc. So Maru, when you go back to Cameroon, get lots of pictures with everybody. Make sure you know who's in the pictures. Identify everybody. And also make sure you put the date the pictures were taken and the location. Okay? I mean, I dated Corinna for 3 years in Colombia, and her family is in Colombia. So I got pictures with all of her brothers and her nieces and nephews who are now my family. Her mom was in Colombia for 6 months. She lives in Caracas, Venezuela. She moved to the United States. She moved to Colombia for 6 months to be with her sons. And now President Trump has got U.S. naval vessels circling around like hungry hyenas in the northern part of Venezuela. So Corinna's mom is returning back to Venezuela, but hopefully we're going to recommend that she live up in the mountains until President Trump gets done whatever it is he's going to do. We don't know. Only he knows. So hopefully the citizens of Venezuela will be free very soon, hopefully, and then there's 11 million Venezuelans that left Venezuela. They can return back home. We'll see what happens, right? Let's see. We don't know. But once Venezuela becomes a free country, then the U.S. Embassy is going to reopen. And then if you're trying to process a K1 visa with a Venezuelan, then it's going to be a whole lot easier to get this done, because you will be allowed to return to Venezuela as a U.S. citizen and go to the embassy and do the paperwork and whatever. It's going to get a lot easier for Venezuelans once Maduro has been removed from office. He was a bus driver, and his mom was born in Colombia. It's interesting, that he keeps using Simon Bolivar as his, crutch to lean on, when in fact Simon Bolivar, the liberator of South America, would have already have arrested him and jailed him by now. Because Simon Bolivar didn't like communists just as much as we don't like them. So, Maru, I will definitely do that. Yeah, get lots of pictures, Maru. Get at least 20 pictures with the family and the friends. And then that's going to come in handy for the K1 visa interview at the embassy. The pictures you're going to bring them to your beneficiary. He will bring them to the interview, and then you're going to use those pictures for the 2-year green card application. Okay, so you got to keep thinking ahead of the game. You got to keep looking down the road. Remember, this process doesn't end until you become a U.S. citizen. And when you become a U.S. citizen, then you don't have to worry about immigration anymore. Then you're good. Then you don't have to worry about green cards or I-90s or 485s. Karina had a long day at work, and she's out back in the kitchen doing stuff. And she made a nice Venezuelan dinner for me, and a Venezuelan salad, and a Venezuelan soup, which is all good for my body because I'm on this new diet. Basically I eliminated all Coke and Pepsi products. So I don't drink soda anymore. It was high in sugar, and my doctor got a little irritated and said, "You can't drink that stuff anymore." I said, "Okay." So here we are. But I can continue with the K1 Visa channel for you guys. I got all this knowledge up in my head. I got to keep giving it to you so you can use it, so you don't have to pay an immigration attorney. They're expensive. It gets pretty expensive hiring an immigration attorney. It's crazy prices they charge. But then again, they go through a lot of schooling, and they got to take the bar exam, etc. But I got the school of hard knocks. I learned how to do this the hard way, just like you guys went through it the hard way. And I've got 12 years experience processing green cards and K1 visas. 12 years is a long time. Okay, I've helped lots of people, hundreds of people. There are lots of people right now living in America because of what I did to help them come here. Because some of those folks were making these stupid mistakes, and I was stopping them from making those stupid mistakes. Immigration right now doesn't have the patience all the time to be correcting errors in your paperwork. If you submit paperwork with errors in it, it's going to be sent back to you, and you're either going to have to redo it over from the beginning, or they're just going to deny the whole thing. So it's very important that you submit paperwork without making any mistakes. Okay? That's the secret. No mistakes, 0 errors. And I got this one light on. I didn't turn this light on. I didn't turn that light on. But the lighting seems a lot better without those other 2 lights on the side. So maybe I'll just stick with this one light on the front and the one above, because that seems to be the best lighting that I can see so far. So those other 2 lights, maybe they kind of blend into each other and blur out everything. I don't know. I'm not a lighting expert, but I'm learning. I took a course on how to edit videos and make videos. And so I make these videos for you guys. That way you can learn how to do this process for free by just watching the videos that I make. You don't have to watch the whole thing. If you learn, if there's a 10-minute video and you learn what you need to learn in 5 minutes, then just watch it for 5 minutes. But that way you get the information, And the secret is also don't use your credit card to pay for your green card or for your K1 visa applications. Do not use a credit card. Even though immigration says you can use a credit card and they give you a form to fill out, don't do it. Most banks don't recognize the charge. And when banks don't recognize the charge, they just block the transaction, and therefore your K1 visa doesn't get it goes into a black hole somewhere, and your green card doesn't get processed. Just write a check or use a cashier's check Okay, just use a personal check. And now, what's a good idea to do is this: once you get to the United States, once your beneficiary comes to America, and he or she gets a social security number, and they get on your and he or she's on your bank, okay, order some checks from your bank with both of your names on it. Like the checks, when I fill out a check to pay the water bill, like today I paid the water bill, the check has my name on it and Karina's name on it. And the water bill came in with my name on it and Karina's name on it. Larry Piercy, okay, you're back online. Very good. I had a late dinner, Larry. I had a late dinner, so I ran 30 minutes late on the live stream. But here we are, all together, learning new stuff. So once you get on your bank, when the beneficiary becomes a joint account holder on the bank, order checks with both of your names and your address on the checks. Then you're going to use that check to pay for the 2-year green card. So when immigration get your check for your 2-year green card, it's going to be in the check is going to be in your name and your sponsor's name and your address and phone number, all on the written on the top left-hand corner of the check. That's evidence of cohabitation. It's also evidence of commingling of funds. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's getting stricter and stricter and stricter to get a K-1 visa and a green card. And immigration is looking harder and harder and harder especially into family-based marriage green card applications. Immigration is looking into those cases very hard. They could come to your house. Immigration can come to your house, and they have a right to come into your house, okay, and look around and see where does your beneficiary. Now, if immigration comes to our house here in Florida, I don't care. And if they want to come into the house, I say, okay. They say maybe they want to go and check the closets to see where Karina's clothes are. Well, all of her clothes are in her closet. My clothes are in my closet. And then in the chest of drawers, there's all her clothes. And there's all my clothes over here. Mine. So immigration can do that. They can come into your house and see if you got any pictures of each other up on the wall. They're going to come into your house to see maybe if you're actually living together. This is going to happen. Okay? It's going to happen. They might come into your house and sit down on the couch with both of you and talk to you. So how do you like living in America? This is what's going to be the future of getting a green card approved in the United States. Once you have your 10-year green card, then if you don't become a citizen, you have to renew the 10-year green card every 10 years. So 6 months before it expires, you renew it with a Form I-90. You got to make sure now that you don't make any mistakes on the paperwork. If you make a mistake, your green card will be denied. Immigration's not going to be sending you, well, you made a mistake here, you got to fix this. No, you can't fill out paperwork correctly, your green card's going to be denied. Okay? Pay attention, class. It's very important. Okay? Pay attention. I don't want you to make these stupid mistakes. So immigration can, in Colombia, the embassy staff at the U.S. Embassy in Bogota, Colombia, they're going to people's homes in Colombia to see if the person who's the beneficiary actually is living at the house that they put on the K-1 visa application. There was a lady in Medellin, which is an hour's plane ride from Bogota. Immigration got on a plane in Bogota, flew to Medellin, went to this lady's house, knocked on the door. Hey, I'm just seeing if you live here. Yeah, I live here. I'm just waiting on my visa interview. Yeah, your K-1 visa interview is going to be in 2 weeks. Everything's good. We're just checking to see you're doing okay. What they were doing was to see if the person was actually living there. They can come to your house and knock on your door and ask to come in and look around the house to see if you are living together. Pictures on the wall. Two toothbrushes. Your clothes in the bedroom together, in the closet, whatever. It's coming. And if you hang out with me and Corinne and I, if you hang out with us, you're going to get through this process. We're going to pull you over the finish line and you're going to get your green cards. But hopefully you become a U.S. citizen. That's the ultimate goal, is that you become a citizen, and then you don't have to worry about it. I don't recommend you travel when you get your 2-year green card. I do not recommend you leave the United States. I don't recommend applying for the work permit. It's a waste of money. I recommend just applying for the green card. Save that $200+ Advance parole. I don't recommend applying for it. It's over $600. It's taken 6 months to get it. By the time you get your advance parole and you paid $600+ for it, you're going to get your green card probably in that same time frame. You can travel on a 2-year green card, but I don't recommend it. When you get to America, get your 2-year green card, and if you need to go somewhere for a vacation, go on vacation in the United States. I took Karina to Nevada. I took her to the Grand Canyon in Arizona. In January, we're going to leave. We're going to go out west again on vacation, and we're going to get lots of pictures. I'll make a video for you guys so you can see what we're doing. And that information, that vacation in January, is going to be included in our 10-year green card application. Remember, when you file for a 10-year green card, it's a joint application it's a husband and wife. I'm a U.S. citizen and I don't need a green card, but it's a joint application with the USCIS form I-751. Don't make your Facebook posts or your Facebook account private. It's got to be public. Immigration want to be able to look in your Facebook account. Make it public. If your Facebook account is private, it's going to be a problem with immigration. If you have an Instagram account, make sure it's public so immigration can read it and see what's going on. They need to be able to see what you're posting and what you're liking and what you're doing in Facebook and Instagram. Okay? They're looking. So by the time you get your K-1 visa interview and you've submitted the DS-160 and it's all been set up, immigration's already been looking through your Facebook account. When you arrive in the United States of America and you got your cell phone in your hand, you better be ready to let immigration look through your pictures, your photos, and everything in your cell phone. If you don't want immigration looking through your cell phone, don't bring your cell phone with you on the plane. Leave it in whatever country it is you live in with grandma and give it to grandma as a gift. Hey, grandma, here's a cell phone for you. Okay? But if you have a Facebook account, you got to make sure everything's public. Immigration want to be able to see what you're doing in there. Okay? That applies to student visas, spousal visas, employer visas, K-1 visas. It's across the board. Okay? If you come to the United States and you're a green card holder and you decide you want to burn the American flag, you're going to get deported. It's going to happen if they catch you. So don't be doing that. You come to America, you want to become American and put the flag up in your front yard, hang it on your wall, and respect the flag. That's what immigration's looking for. They want to see you assimilate and become American. Learn English. If you don't know how to speak English, go take some classes. Watch movies in English. Learn English. It's the official language of the United States. It's the official language of the United States. Just like Spanish is the official language of Colombia and Venezuela, English is the official language of the USA. And we respect each other's borders and boundaries, right? If Americans started sneaking into Venezuela or into Colombia, they'd get arrested and prosecuted. Same applies for the United States. If you sneak into our country illegally, you're going to be arrested and prosecuted and deported. So don't do it. And, come to the country legally. You guys are going through the process legally, which is good. You're getting the police checks done. Now, don't forget, if you let's suppose you live in the Philippines and you worked in Singapore and Hong Kong, You worked in Singapore for 6 months. You worked in Hong Kong for 6 months. You're going to need 3 police certificates. One from Hong Kong, one from Singapore, and one from the Philippines, which is your country, where you live, where you're from. So if you and that applies if you're 16 or older. Rooster is in the house. Hello, everyone. Now, Rooster is a member of the channel. Larry is a member of the channel. Miguel is a member. Maru is a member. So we got a lot of members on the line right now. Rooster, I'm in waiting mode, still getting more evidence, life insurance policy. Make sure, Rooster, your wife is on the title to your car. Now, if you are leasing a car, you go to a car dealer and you lease a car. Okay, you want to put your wife's name on the lease to the car. If you have your car paid off or your motorcycle or whatever, get her name on the title. She is on everything. There you go. But include the paperwork in the application for the green card. Now, we live in Florida, okay, and once a year, the property appraiser's office sends a letter to the house saying, "Are you still the resident of this house for your home exemption?" And on the cards that come in the mail, it says Diego Ross and Karina Ross. So that card came from the property appraiser's office checking in with us to see that we're still living here, that we can still qualify for the home exemption, the homestead exemption. That letter goes into her 10-year green card application. That's evidence of, number one, she's on the deed to the house, and number two, she's living here. Okay? When you get letters from your friends, I started collecting stamps, believe it or not. I'm on this stamp collecting binge. I started collecting stamps. So, a couple of months ago, somebody said to buy said that Nancy Reagan stamps are going to be valuable in the future. So I went online and bought a whole sheet of Nancy Reagan stamps, and I stuck them in an album. Now I'm collecting stamps. Now I got Ronald Reagan. I'm getting John F. Kennedy. I'm getting presidents. It's great. I got a new hobby besides doing this. Francois Livingston is in the house. Good evening, Diego and Karina, and all who are watching. Well, we're glad to have people watching, because if you're watching, you're going to learn something, hopefully. If you can watch it later, you'll learn something later on. Not everybody can be on the live stream at the same time, because there's some folks in Australia and England and Indonesia, those in Philippines, those countries, Pakistan, it's a different time zone. So it's hard for them to do a live stream. Although some folks from England did jump on here. I think it's like, 2 o'clock in the morning or something like that in Europe. But some folks stay up late and jump on the live stream. But I understand. Francois Livingston, I think it was Christopher Reese who told you about the stamps. I think it was Christopher. Yeah, you're right, Francois. So I bought a whole sheet of Nancy Reagan stamps, and I put them aside. And now once every couple of weeks, I go buy a bunch of new stamps from the post office on sheets, and I just stick them in an album. And in 20 years from now, when they're no longer available, or there's a collector out there, maybe they'll be worth some money for Karina. Rooster, I told her don't take me out since she's on life insurance policies. No, where's she gonna? The only place that she needs to take you out to is maybe to Texas Roadhouse for some steaks, and those French fries are delicious. I like the barbecue ribs at Texas Roadhouse. Although I started making barbecue ribs myself. I'll buy a slab of ribs at Walmart, and then I cover it with cumin and all the hot peppers, and I can make and it tastes good. And I basically marinate it. Rooster, we went there today. Oh, you went to Texas Roadhouse today, and she really likes the steaks. Okay, that's good. I mean, they make good. I like the steaks too. I'm just waiting for my doctor to tell me I got to stop eating red meat. I'm just waiting for that to be next on his list. But for the good news is I don't have another physical for another year. So I got one more year to go before he tells me I can't eat red meat. But we'll see what he says. He told me my cholesterol levels were really good, and LDLs, whatever the heck it's called, everything was great. So everything's good. So I like the French fries at Texas Roadhouse. They make these wedge fries. They taste so good. But, Rooster, but you have to enjoy some things. Yeah. Right now, he cut me off my Coca-Cola and my Mountain Dew. I gotta do Mountain Dew salutes like this. But I mean, I miss drinking one of them little small cans of ice cold Coke. They taste good. But we still go to Hardee's for our big breakfasts, and I'm still eating steaks and barbecue ribs. What can I say? I enjoyed eating the steaks in Colombia, in Bogota, Colombia. I could go eat a big slab of steak like this with French fries for like $5, $5 for a big steak dinner. That would cost me $50 here. So, if you get an opportunity to go to Colombia, don't listen to the naysayers about Colombia. Go to Colombia, go to Bogota for a week, and go eat some of the restaurants there. The food is just fantastic. Rooster, are you losing weight? Yeah, I have lost weight. I'm on a once a week I fast for 24 hours, and I'm stripping the fat off my gut. I've lost a bunch of gut. I've lost a lot of fat off my gut. I used to be out here, but now I'm getting trimmed down. Once a week I take a 24-hour fast. You can tell? Well, yeah. It's the first time I didn't eat anything for 24 hours was pretty hard. I was like, man, I got to have something to eat. But this time around, it was easy. I just did it, and I wasn't hungry. So my body's internal clock was saying, okay, so every Sunday night, we ain't going to get any food till Monday night. And then next week, I'm going to go 36 hours without eating anything and try to see if I can get rid of the rest of this fat off my gut. Because what happens when you don't eat, when you fast for that 24 hours, the body goes into survival mode and starts eating itself for energy, for glucose. And that is the fat. It starts with the fat in your gut and around your liver and in your kidneys. The body will start using the fat in your body for energy instead of the food that it's looking for. Because if there's no food in your stomach, it's going to go for the fat cells that are in your body as a source of energy, glucose primarily. So you got to exercise too. I went bike riding today. I'll go on a bike ride because jogging is crazy. You won't catch me jogging. I mean, you won't. I mean, if you see me jogging, then you be rest assured there's somebody chasing me. All right, but I'm not jogging. My knees are perfect. My knees are in good shape. Why? Because I don't run every freaking day like some people do. They go jog for 2 miles on concrete pavement, and then they wonder when they get older why their knees are giving out and they got to get hip replacements. That ain't happening. But I ride a bike, and that's good exercise. The green card process, the K-1 visa process is actually speeding up, believe it or not. The paperwork adjudication is speeding up just so long as you follow the paperwork correctly without any mistakes. The first thing immigration looks at in a 2-year green card application is the financial paperwork. The first thing they look at, okay, the 864. If you can't figure out what your family size is, and you get confused because it's a confusing form, the 864 is a confusing form. And lots of people in the past will get in the family size mixed up. And then they will get an RFE. Well, you messed up the paperwork. Go ahead and you got to fix this. Now, if you mess up the paperwork, it's getting denied. So if you fill out your 864, Mr. American Citizen Sponsor, Miss American Citizen Sponsor, and you made a stupid error in there somewhere, the green card is going to get denied. So don't make any mistakes on the 864, okay, or any of it. The 485 is also, and make sure you repeat the medical exam. recertify your vaccinations. You know, people ask me, well, what vaccinations do I need? Well, the civil surgeon's going to tell you. When I returned to Florida with Karina, we got her. The first thing we did was get her Social Security card. It had her maiden name on it, and it had all this verbiage on it. Nope, not allowed to work without permission from Homeland Security. But all that means is you can't work without your work permit or your green card. Next week, we got her on the bank account with the Social Security number, right? We printed up her I-94s, and then when she was on the bank as a joint owner, the bank statements would come in, and after 58 days, we collected all the evidence of her being on the bank, the title to the car, the bills to the house, the deed to the house. We got all the evidence together. We mailed off her green card application. She got it in 3 months without an interview. But now the rules have changed. Now, no matter how good your green card application is for your 2-year green card, unless it's an A++, you're going to have a green card interview. Okay? When you apply for a 10-year green card, if you put together an A++ application, there's a good chance you won't have to have a interview again. But when you file for your 2-year green card, you got to repeat the medical exam, okay, by a civil surgeon in the state or the city where you live, authorized by the State Department. But when you file for your 10-year green card, you don't have to repeat the medical exam. When you file for your 10-year green card, you don't have to include the I-94. You don't have to include a copy of the K-1 visa anymore because you already have your green card. But when you apply for your 2-year green card, you must include the NOA2 letter, the copy of the K-1 visa in color, blown up, the biographic page of all the passports of everybody, the marriage certificate certified by the clerk of the court. Francois Livingston, in the video you posted within the last couple of days, is it true that it takes almost 2 years for the 10-year green card? Right, that's correct. It takes 21 months to adjudicate for a 10-year green card. But here's what happens, Francois. Hamid and Karina, they both have their 2-year green cards. In March, Karina's going to apply for her 10-year green card. When immigration send Karina a notice, I-797, saying, we received your application for your 10-year green card, that letter automatically extends her 2-year green card by 3 years. So Karina's 2-year green card is going to be automatically extended into a 3-year green card from the date it expires, but you have to have that letter with the green card for it to be qualified. So if you have a 2-year green card and you apply for your 10-year green card, and the 2-year green card expires and you've applied for your 10-year green card, you have a letter from immigration saying, hey, here's your letter notifying you that your green card has been received for adjudication. You got to carry that letter around with you with the 2-year green card. Because if you get picked up by Immigration and Customs Enforcement with an expired 2-year green card, you're going to be put in detention right away. They're going to take you and put you in detention. But if you have a 2-year green card with a letter saying that you've applied for your 10-year green card with it, immigration will not bother with. They're not going to bother you. They'll look at your 2-year green card. They'll look at your letter from immigration, and they say, have a fantastic rest of the day. If you get caught without your green card, if you go to work and you don't have your green card on you, and immigration comes to your place of work and they want to see everybody who's a green card holder, if you don't have your green card with you, I left it in the car in the parking lot, you're going to get charged with a misdemeanor from immigration, from Homeland Security. You got to have your green card in your pocket, in your purse, in your locker where you work. Where Karina works, she has a locker. Her green card is in the locker, locked away. So if immigration come into her place of work and ask to see everybody who's here with green cards, Karina can go to her locker and say, here's my green card. Okay, Karina, you're good to go. But if they come into Karina's place of work and she says, my green card is in my car out in the parking lot, or it's at home with me, she's going to get a misdemeanor charge, and it's going to go against her for U.S. citizenship. It's going to hurt her immigration. Always carry your green card with you. If you have a 2-year green card that's expired, carry your 2-year green card with the I-797 that says you've applied for your 10-year green card. Then you're good. Immigration's not going to bother you. Larry Piercy, then you file after 9 months for dual green card and citizenship. Correct. Right, Larry. So to qualify for U.S. citizenship for a 2-year green card holder, the beneficiary has to be married, number one, married to a U.S. citizen, and number two, you only have to wait 3 years before you can apply for U.S. citizenship. So you're gonna lift the conditions off of your 2-year green card, right? And then a year later, you can apply for citizenship. But let's supposing you've applied to lift the conditions off of your 2-year green card for your 10-year green card, and a year has passed and you still haven't received any notice from immigration because they're so backlogged. You can then apply for U.S. citizenship. Immigration will then adjudicate U.S. because it's a 5-month wait to apply for citizenship. You file an N-400 to become a U.S. citizen, you only got to wait 5 months, and then you go to the interview and get all that done. So you're still waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting to get your 10-year green card. So you apply for citizenship. You go to the citizenship interview. They can see that you've applied for your 10-year green card. So they're going to adjudicate your 10-year green card and your U.S. citizenship case at the same time. And then they're going to say, okay, you passed the citizenship test. Congratulations. You are now going to be sworn. You're going to be a U.S. citizen. We're going to send you a notice of when you're going to get sworn in. And then you're going to say, well, what about my 10-year green card? It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's not important because you just become a U.S. citizen. You just got to wait to get sworn in and then get your naturalization paperwork. And on your naturalization paperwork, it's going to have your alien registration number on your naturalization paperwork. Because if you, in the future, if you decide you want to bring mom over or a sister or your brother to America and you file a family-based green card, you're going to have to include a copy of your naturalization certificate in the paperwork, and you also have to put on the paperwork your alien number that you had before you became a U.S. citizen. So if you want to bring, like when Karina becomes a citizen, she has an opportunity to file to bring her mom to the United States from Venezuela. Okay, so when she does the paperwork as a U.S. citizen, she must include her naturalization certificate, and on the naturalization certificate, there's her alien registration number that she was issued all those years ago when she first became a green card holder. So it's very important that you don't, when you get your naturalization paperwork, don't lose it. I think it's a $500 to replace it. If you lose your naturalization paperwork, it's like a 6-month wait if you lose it to renew it, and I think it's $500, something like that. Okay, don't quote me on that, but it's very expensive to renew your naturalization paperwork. And if you are going to bring somebody to the United States and you are a naturalized American, you must include the naturalization certificate, copy of it, in the paperwork. Okay, so you're learning new things every day, right, class? This is your YouTube channel. I put it together for you so you can learn how to do this. I got 12 years doing this. I've helped so many people. I lost count. I don't even know how many. I've lost count of how many people. I remember I helped one lady. Her green card, her spousal visa was denied because of her income. And I said, well, what income did you use? She goes, well, I used my income from my last job, but I got hired by this airline company. Now I make $70,000 a year. I said, can you prove that you make 70 grand a year working for this airline? She goes, yeah, but they denied my spousal visa, and my husband's in South Africa. I said, why'd they deny it? She said, because my income. I said, well, resubmit everything with your pay stubs and the equity in your house and the equity in the blue book equity in your car, and show evidence that you make $70,000 a year working for this airline. She goes, okay. So she did everything I told her to do. She had to resubmit everything to the National Visa Center. She uploaded all this paperwork, and lo and behold, the NVC reopened her case and sent it to the South Africa, Johannesburg, and her spousal visa got approved. And the first person she called when her husband arrived in America was me. She's calling and texting me on the phone 2 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning. My husband just got here from South Africa. Thanks to Diego. I said, no, it wasn't thanks to me. It was thanks to you, Mrs. Sponsor, for listening to me and following my advice. She just didn't know what to do. She was in a maze of confusion. So I unconfused her, and now her husband's here. I got a picture. They sent me a picture in a text of her husband of waving an American flag as he entered into from the plane, as he left the plane. And then Caleb wrote a message, and now I can't see what he says. He deleted it. And Francois, it takes 2 years to get your 10-year green card adjudicated, 21 months. That's correct. But Hamid's going to apply for U.S. citizenship in 3 years from now, from the issue date of his 2-year green card. So don't worry about it. The only thing he has to do is pass the civics test and the government history test and read and write English and understand English. Karina already knows about the history of America. She knows about the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. She knows about the founding fathers, James Madison, George Washington, Thomas Paine, Paul Revere. She knows all this American history like the back of her hand. But what she has to do is to learn English, because we're not going to put her into a U.S. citizenship interview until she can learn English. And she has class on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Today's Monday, so tomorrow's Tuesday. Tomorrow, she has class at the university, English class. Francois Livingston, Hamid's 2-year green card issue date is July 22nd, 2025. So July 22nd, 2028 is when he's eligible for U.S. citizenship. July 22nd, 2028, right? It's 3 years. And 526 is when he's eligible. I'll write it down here. So he's going to be eligible for U.S. citizenship on this day right here. And I just got a new credit card. Karina and we just got our new credit cards in the mail today, and they don't expire till 2029. So Hamid's going to be a U.S. citizen by the time my credit card expires. So Francois, you understand that Hamid can apply for U.S. citizenship. He can probably apply 3 months before his issue date. So April of 2028, somewhere in there, he can file the N400 and pay the fee and everything. Ex-tangent, is it all right for a fiance after obtaining the U.S. visa to travel on vacation internationally before entering the U.S. to live? So what you're telling me is a fiance has a K1 visa in her passport or his passport. Can they travel internationally before entering America? Yes. If you have a K1 visa in your passport and you're in, I don't know, Uganda, and you want to go to Senegal, you can fly from Uganda to Senegal with a K1 visa in your passport. Just make sure the immigration folks don't stamp over the K1 visa when you enter the foreign country. You can do that. Just make sure that the person doesn't let the K1 visa expire, and the K1 visa expiration date starts on the day of the medical exam overseas. Francois, I do understand, but don't be surprised if I turn to you in the future for guidance. No, that's okay, Francois. You're good. Hamid's going to file an N400, pay the fee, and then get him his U.S. citizenship. Then you don't have to worry about this immigration stuff anymore. Okay? Hamid gets his naturalization papers and everything. Then he's an American citizen. Then you want to get him a passport, a U.S. passport. Then you guys can go to Morocco on vacation together and not be worried about the Border Patrol giving you a hard time coming back. KR 1912. What is KR 1912? Well, I don't know. I'm not going to be able to read it because you deleted the message. If you want to repeat KR 1912, what you said, I will read it, and if I have I'll have an answer for your question. I got this new microphone here. Look at that. Kind of. Now, my brother Greg said he has a microphone for me, but that'll probably be in the next 2 or 3 years when I see that. I'm kidding, Greg. Okay, KR 1912. My wife and I have a 29.5-year age difference, and I got approved, and I'm with my wife in America now. The consul asked me only 4 questions, and he never asked me about the age difference. The age gap is irrelevant as long as you're in a real relationship. If you are in a real relationship with somebody, yeah, I remember it's a long time ago that you were on here, and I kept telling you not to worry about the age gap as long as you could prove that your relationship was real. You got to have the evidence. It was a while back. You gave me advice about 2 months ago. KR 1912. I told you that the age gap is irrelevant. There's a 20-year plus age gap between Karina and I, but it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. What matters is you guys are in a real relationship, and you can prove it. And how do you prove it? By being in a long relationship with somebody. And you got your 10-year green card. There you go. Very good. That's very good. So you must have been married longer than 2 years when you must have went through a spousal visa. You went through a spousal visa. You've been married longer than 2 years. And that's why you got the 10-year green card straight off the bat. Thank you, man. Well, it's no problem. That's why I'm here, right? Karina and I, we do this to help families get reunited. I don't like seeing people not being reunited. But if you are in this country illegally, okay, and Homeland Security tells you got to leave, then you got to leave. If you come to this country illegally, or if you break the rules of this country, if you break the laws of this country, don't be surprised if you're going to get sent home. But once you come to America and get your green card, start a business, do something like that. Karina's she's in business class. She's taking English lessons. Her English is getting better, but I'm not going to put her I'm not going to put Karina in front of an immigration officer for U.S. citizenship until she can speak English enough where she can get through the interview. It is what it is. And the KR 1912, I'm glad to hear that you got everything approved and you got the 10-year green card. You came in on a spousal visa. You've been married longer than 2 years. That's why it went straight to a 10-year green card. Remember, if you're married to a foreign national longer than 2 years, and you apply for the spousal visa, your beneficiary is going to get a 10-year green card right away. He or she is not going to have to wait and do any lifting of conditions on status. But you got to be married longer than 2 years. If you've been married less than 2 years, if you've been married for 18 months and you apply for a spousal visa, then it's going to go straight to a 2-year green card. Then you got to lift the conditions, et cetera, et cetera. But the whole bottom line is to stop worrying about 2-year green cards and 10-year green cards and start focusing on becoming a citizen. Go online and buy some books on how to be on the Constitution. You can go into Amazon and buy books on how to study for U.S. citizenship. That's what you want to be concentrating on. I bought Karina a book on how to study to become a U.S. citizen. It's all in Spanish, but that's okay. That book was for knowledge on the history of this country and how the politics work in this country. And the next step is for her to learn English. And then once she learns English, all the knowledge that she learned about the history of this country in Spanish, she can translate at the U.S. citizenship interview. Go on vacation within the United States with each other. Get lots of pictures. Keep the plane tickets. I remember when I was in Colombia, we flew from Bogota to Cucuta. We stayed in Cucuta, I think, for about a week. And then we rode the bus from Cucuta back to Bogota. One of these big buses. And I kept the plane tickets. I kept the bus tickets. And that was a 15-hour bus ride up and down mountains. And I don't get air sick or car sick, but I was getting pretty bus sick, I tell you. But it was a great experience to travel from the far northern reach of Colombia to central Colombia on a bus. And I got pictures with Karina. This bus would stop at this bus, for 20, 30 minutes. We'd get off the bus and take pictures with the people on the bus. And I included all this information in her 2-year green card application. Evidence, evidence, evidence. We built a deck together in the backyard. We got pictures building a deck. Those pictures are going in her 10-year green card application. I'm going to take her on vacation in January. We already went to Las Vegas. I already took her to Nevada. The only reason we went to Las Vegas wasn't because of the casinos, but because that was the stop-off point for us to go to Arizona so I could take her to the Grand Canyon. And I was going to take her to Area 51 where all the, all that technology is getting back engineered by the scientists, but I decided not to take her to the back gate of Area 51. Not while she's holding a 2-year green card. It wouldn't be a good idea for her to get biometrically photographed outside the back gate of Area 51. That would be a bad idea. So when she's a U.S. citizen, we'll go to Area 51, the back gate and the front gate. But we went to Las Vegas, and not for the casinos, but that's where we had our trips scheduled to go to Arizona. And if we go to Las Vegas again, I'll take her next time to Utah. I'll take her up to Bryce Canyon, I think it is. But there's so many things that you can plan with your beneficiary within America. I get really surprised when people get to America and the first thing they want to do is apply for advanced parole. Oh, I got to go back. I got to go back to wherever. Why? You just got to America. Why you got to go back? For what? Well, I miss my grandma. My grandma needs me. Well, if you miss grandma, then don't get engaged to an American. If you miss your home country and you're going to miss your family and your grandma and your friends, don't get engaged to an American. Don't do it. Because it's going to be a mental strain on you when you get to America, and then all of a sudden you got to get advanced parole because you want to go back and spend 2 months with grandma. That's not how it's going to work. It's not going to work. You're going to get stressed out. If you love an American and you want to live in America, then be prepared to be coming to this country to live, and be prepared not to go anywhere until you get at least your 10-year green card. You don't want to be traveling outside of the United States on a 2-year green card. You don't want to do that. It's a probationary green card. The Border Patrol can deny you re-entry. Oh, you're a 2-year green card holder. You just got to America. You've been what? You've been there 3 months? Or you've had your green card for 3 months and you've already left the country? No, you can go back to your home country. We're not going to let you in. The Border Patrol might think you're using your green card as a tourist visa just to travel back and forth from the country you left from. That's not what it's for. The green card is for living and working in America. That's what it's for. The green card gives you permission to legally work and legally reside in the United States. It's not a document for you to travel back and forth to your home country every 3 months. That's not what it's for. The Border Patrol is getting stricter and stricter and stricter. Now, if you have a family emergency and you got to go home to take care of grandma, she's in the hospital, that's different. Make sure you carry with you proof of your relationship with your U.S. citizen, American citizen sponsor, husband or wife. Carry the marriage certificate with you, your driver's license. If you've done your taxes, bring your last tax return with you, joint filing. Bring a couple of bills with you with your names on the bills. Bring your bank statements with you. So when you come back to the United States, and if the Border Patrol take you into secondary screening because you're on a 2-year green card, they're going to tell you to prove your ties to America. And you can say, okay, well, here's my marriage certificate, here's my last tax return, here's my water bill, here's my electric bill with my name on it, here's my driver's license. Do you see what I'm saying? That's the way to save yourself from getting a headache traveling on a 2-year green card. But my advice is don't leave America till you become a citizen. When you go to become a U.S. citizen, when you go to your U.S. citizenship interview, the first question the immigration officer is going to ask you is, have you resided continually in the United States for the last 36 months? You can say, yes. Corinne is going to respond, yes, I've never left the United States. But some people go into a U.S. citizenship interview and they spent 3 months with grandma, then they came back, then they went back to see grandma again, spent 3 months with grandma, then they came back, then they applied for U.S. citizenship, and the consular officer says, have you resided continuously in the United States? No, I went to visit grandma for 3 months in 2021. I went to see her in 2022 for 3 or 4 months. Well, guess what? You're going to get your U.S. citizenship's going to be denied. No, you're not. No, you spend too much time going back. You're using the green card as a tourist visa, not as a residency permit. Apply again in 5 years. If you get, just because you get denied for U.S. citizenship doesn't mean you can't apply again. You can apply again, but you're going to have to wait because the clock's going to start over from the beginning again. So you're going to have to wait another 3 years or 5 years before you can apply. So what's the secret? Don't leave America. Come here, become American. Enjoy your new family, make new friends. If you're from the Philippines, join a Phil-Am club. If you're from South Korea, there's Korean groups that you can join. Japan, same thing. If you're from the Middle East, there's clubs you can join with people from the Middle East. It doesn't matter where you're from. Just don't leave America, become American. Okay, guys, I've been talking for an hour. It's Monday, August 25th, 2025. I'll be back on Wednesday and answering your questions. I hope you learned something new today. I want you to always learn something new on every live stream that I do. And then in 5 years from now, in 10 years from now, if somebody wants to get their green card, they can watch one of these videos and they will learn how to do it for free. Francois Livingston says, say hello to Karina. I will definitely do that. She's in the back doing stuff. And I started off late tonight because I had a late dinner. But here we go. And I'll see you guys on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central Time. And if you want to become a member of this channel, feel free to sign up as a member and you'll get my phone number and my cell number. All right, Larry, adios and hasta luego and regresa aquí miércoles.